Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin Leopard with Higher Hertz, here today to talk about whole body efficiency, things related to a concept you might have heard, Alexander technique, basically injury prevention and using your body well with cello. So first of all, as I've talked about in other videos, there is a possibility for injury with playing the cello. As silly as it can sort of seem, because it's an instrument, not a sport, the reality is that there are several things that can plague cellists, from back problems to carpal tunnel to tendonitis, and those are just to name the most common ones. So you really want to make sure that when you're playing an instrument that not only uses a lot of repetitive movement but also asymmetrically uses your arms, that you're taking care of your body. So this can come in two forms. One would be things you do away from the cello, and then the other would be things that you can do at the cello. So things away from the cello can branch off very broadly. They can be things like yoga or some other similar form of using breathing to do symmetrical exercises with the body. It's actually really great also for just meditative awareness that can be useful for music. So I know many musicians who are actually actively into yoga. It can also come in the form of something that's called Alexander technique, which I'm not accredited in or anything, so I'm not really going to teach you about that, but you can go look it up. It's a sort of whole system for using your body more efficiently. What I also like to do is I usually go on a walk or a jog, and I really want to just balance my body. So I'm always taking care in my day-to-day life to be thinking about the form of my back and the way my legs are moving. Because if I have back problems in general, they are going to get worse at the cello. And that's been a problem for me since high school because I'm tall, so I've had back problems. So I have back problems at the cello, but I don't as long as I'm taking care to strengthen my body, especially my legs and upper back. So that actually plays into cello, working on that stuff. Now, like I said, there's a risk factor when you're playing, a lot in a day. If you're practicing many, many hours, the chance of injury is greater. So while we always encourage you to practice more, usually we just do that because few people struggle with practicing too much. But there is a point too much. And if you're playing more than 5 hours in a day, it's going to be really hard to make sure that you're not hurting yourself. So when I have a gig that's 5 hours long, so for example, Mother's Day this year, I played as a jazz trio at a country club, and we were playing for basically 4.5 hours straight. And afterwards, I felt it in the inside of my arm here. So you can feel, if you move your hand up and down, the tendons that are running there. So that's a problem that can easily befall me if I have to do too much. And the problem is I'm trying to play good music and I'm trying to use it. And the little twitches that you'll do with the bow that aggravate that area really add up over time. So there's a great exercise that you can use to de-stress that. And first of all, you just kind of want to avoid those situations being that regular. But what you can do, there's two ones. One is you can bring your arm in and put your hand flat, put your other hand on top of it, and then use mild resistance as you push your arm out. So this is just a way to get some stretching in that area. The other thing you can do, which I really like because it's more symmetrical, although I don't like this because it looks even more dorky if you do it in an orchestra rehearsal, but sit with, as good a posture as you can and have your arms loose at your side, and then raise them up, really feeling how your back, upper back and your shoulders come together. And then you can also do this one arm at a time, but you just move your hand out and try to feel as though you're pushing something away from you. And as soon as you do that, you'll feel the tingle. You can even kind of control which finger specifically it's going to. So that's a really great exercise, doing that for just 30, 45 seconds. That's really going to help open that up. I also know some people who really swear by certain preventive measures at the cello. So every single time they play cello, they're going to do certain motions, just anything that is going to be related to what you're doing with cello. And they have certain routines sometimes. So if you do some sort of stretching routine, what that accomplishes is it physically warms up your muscles and basically makes it from just a fatigue perspective as though you've already warmed up 30 or 45 minutes at the cello. You're already in that state when you're sitting down to play. So that's what's recommended when I was at an orchestra festival, and there's like sometimes days where people have 7 hours of rehearsal because they're just in two groups. And then they also are practicing on top of that. So that's like one of those situations where it's really serious that you are, or at least that you're taking it really seriously, the injury prevention component. So that's kind of like the best, those are the best exercises to do for that sort of problem when you're at the cello. The other thing you can do is like, as you're starting to play or whatever, you can, do a stretch where you like come forward like that. Doing some sort of rotations in the chair can just help. These are just things you can do like at the cello. So now that we've talked about some practical things you can do both away from the cello and at the cello, I want to sort of go a little bit bigger picture about injury prevention with this instrument, and to just kind of say that if you are aware of your body, every aspect of your body, you're not only going to be helping yourself avoid injury, you're actually going to be helping yourself play better anyway. So there's more reasons than just the sort of potentially, it's not lame to be safe, but especially if you're young, it can feel like that's not the most exciting thing, but it will help you play better because every little thing that you can control about your body is going to translate into how your hands come onto the instrument. And it doesn't really matter if you can technically play all the notes of a piece if you can't even get through the piece without your hand getting too tight in order to play it. It doesn't really matter if in theory you can play really great if your tone really starts to get bad after just a couple of minutes of straight playing because your hand is so tight. And it certainly doesn't help if you can play great except now you have a permanent hand cramp and you can barely play at all while that heals. So this stuff really corresponds in a lot of ways. So it's very important to just take it seriously. And that's why I wanted to just take this video to touch upon it. It's going to be unique to you, the best way that you can go about it for yourself. You're also going to have different problems. So I listed the three most common: the lower back, the tendonitis, and carpal tunnel. If you get carpal tunnel, you're kind of out of commission. If you get tendonitis, you're kind of out of commission for a couple of years. So if you start to feel swelling in your wrists or in your arm or in your back, you really want to take care of that. And it's okay to go see a physical therapist if you're able to go see a physical therapist. It's okay to get, some help from the sports nutrition people because there's money in that and there's not money in helping musicians avoid injury. So our best bet is going to some of the sports people. And that's also what I'd recommend if you're interested in just delving deeper into this topic. Look into sports injury prevention. You're going to find a lot more than if you look into cello injury prevention or even piano injury prevention. What you don't want to be at is a place where the only way you know how to play is to be really, really tight, and then you have to take ibuprofen every day just to not feel the pain in your arms. And I have known musicians who are like that, who have careers, but they take an ibuprofen every day. And ultimately it might impact the longevity of the way that they can play their instrument. And that's kind of sad compared to just finding a way to do it where you're also using your body well. Most important thing to remember about the cello is that it's asymmetrical. One arm is moving down here and the other arm is moving here. So in your day-to-day life, try to find other ways to be symmetrical to balance that out, and just try to find ways of being able to strengthen your body so that your lower back and your arm don't have to overexert themselves. If you do that, you'll probably be in okay shape. So anyways, that's all that I have for you guys in today's video. Once more, I'm Justin Leppard, also known as the Vagabond Cellist, and this has been a production with Higher Hertz. Stay subscribed below for more lesson videos, and we will see you in the next one.